Hello, everybody, and welcome back to my channel. It is week 3 in the NFL, so we're back with my weekly NFL predictions. If you enjoy the content, make sure you do like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends. With that being said, let's get to my week 3 predictions. All right, I am feeling so much healthier than last week, so let's see how last week went. So, lots of red on my previous week recap. So, let's just get into it. So, Bills beat the Dolphins. I thought it'd be closer. Saints beat the Cowboys. I thought it'd be closer, and I didn't think the Saints would beat the Cowboys. So there it is. Buccaneers beat the Lions. Great game. Packers beat the Colts. Decent game. Jets beat the Titans. Vikings beat the 49ers, which shocker. Seahawks beat the Patriots in overtime, but hey, dub's a dub. Commanders beat the Giants. Chargers beat the Panthers. Panthers are a dumpster fire right now. The Browns beat the Jaguars. Jaguars are going through it. Raiders beat the Ravens. I don't know what's going on with Justin Tucker and Lamar Jackson over there, but Cardinals beat the Rams, beat the brakes off of them. Steelers beat the Broncos. Chiefs beat the Bengals. That was a great game, by the way. Texans beat the Bears, and the Falcons beat the Eagles. So I am 7-9. So if you guys remember, in week 1, I was 9-7. So we're 16-16 after 2 weeks. So not great, but hey, we're even, and we'll get positive by the end of the year. And going over to my weekly NFL rankings. So coming in at number 5. I got the Vikings. I think the Vikings are playing very good football. I think having Brian Flores as their defensive coordinator is working out for them so far. And yeah, I really like this team. I think if Sam Darnold can just not screw them, this team can be pretty decent. Coming in at number 4, we do have the Buffalo Bills. So I like the Bills, even though they're very injured and they rely on Josh Allen too much. But I still think that they're very decent, and I think they can definitely do some things. Number 3, I do have the Texans. I think the Texans are probably the second best team in the AFC right now, and they probably will be the second best team going into the playoffs. So yeah, as of right now, I got Houston. They do everything well. Number 2, I have the Saints. I don't know how you don't put the Saints in your top 5 rankings. They have scored the most points so far this season. In back-to-back weeks, they've scored 40 points. And the Cowboys' defense isn't anything to scoff at. So I think the Saints are pretty good. Number 1 is the Chiefs. Screw the Chiefs, whatever. All right, moving over to Thursday Night Football. We have the New England Patriots at the New York Jets. So for the Patriots, their run defense is playing very well. They definitely stifled the Seahawks run game. They just need to work on their pass defense a little bit because Jackson Smith-Njigba and DK Metcalf both ate last week. So yeah, defensive line is good, but still need a little bit of improvement in the secondary. Their own line needs work. Jacoby Brissett was kind of running for his life, especially in the second half. The Seahawks were just getting after him. They need to figure out their O-line issues, and they need to not give up on their run. I think it's Ramondre Stevenson is their running back. I'm pretty sure. And he just needs more carries. They gave up on it way too early, and yeah, I think the Seahawks could have been run on a lot more than they were. So yeah, don't give up on the run, Patriots. As for the Jets, I think Aaron Rodgers, he looks like a damn statue sitting in the pocket. I think part of me, when I'm seeing him, he looks like he's seeing ghosts. And that might be because their O-line is bad, or it's just because he's had so many injuries. It's hard. It's hard to let those injuries go sometimes, especially after being out for as long as he has been. So yeah, he just needs to get a little bit more loose in there. I think their run game needs to be leaned on. I'm not saying they have a two-headed backfield, but their backup running back's not bad. He scored two of their touchdowns last week, so yeah, they just need to lean on the run game a little bit more. Breece Hall needs to do a little bit more. I think their defense played better, but they must improve. Compared to what their defense was last year, I'm not impressed with his defense at all. So yeah, just shore up those defenses, and I have an upset this week. I got the Patriots winning this game. I got the Patriots 24, Jets 23. I would not be surprised if the Jets won this game, but I'm going out on a limb like I always do because, you got to make the predictions fun a little bit. Our second game, our first early window game on Sunday is the New York Giants at the Cleveland Browns. So for the Giants, they need to take care of the football. Too many fumbles, too many picks, just too many turnovers for this team. I think their pass defense must thrive in order for this team to be successful. They're 0-2 right now. If their defensive line can step it up and just cause a little bit more havoc, I think this team can be decent defensively. I think Malik Neighbors is the real deal, in my opinion. I was skeptical going into the year, but this last game kind of put a lot of those doubts at rest. I'm not saying he's top 5 right now, but he's probably top 15, and maybe we'll see where he ends up in his career. As for the Browns, I think their defensive line looked great last week. I think they need to just continue with that, the scheme that they were running, and I think their defensive line will thrive against most teams. And they're not asking too much of Deshaun, which blows my mind. He just does not look good. There are certain throws where it's just overthrown, underthrown. He's a struggle bus sometimes. So, yeah, not asking him to do too much is probably for the best. And I think Jerome Ford, he's going to continue to struggle. This O-line is very injured, and they're just not the same O-line that they've had in years past. And he's no Nick Chubb. So he's just going to continue to struggle, in my opinion. I have the Giants winning this game. All right, I got the Giants winning this game. I got Giants 24, Browns 20. Who knew? I thought I picked the Browns, but, I'm not changing it. Going into our next game, we have the Green Bay Packers at the Tennessee Titans. So for the Packers, I think the Josh Jacobs show is in full effect. I think Malik Willis is not being asked to too much, and they are leaning on the run game a lot, which Josh Jacobs is going to thrive in. So we'll see if it works out for them long term. I think their defense needs to play like last week every single week. They played extremely well. They were sprinting to the ball, and that's exactly how you need to play on defense. So I'm optimistic about the Packers. I think they can definitely put in some work. As for the Titans, I think it's time to move on from Will Levis, man. Back-to-back weeks where he is making inexplicably boneheaded plays, and it costs his team points. So, in my opinion, I think it's time to be done. Maybe let him ride on the bench behind a veteran. But as of right now, I'm done with the Will Levis experiment. I think Tony Pollard, he ain't it. He's not a bell cow back. He's not going to take the top off the defense. Well, I know that's a passing reference, but he's not going to do anything significant, in my opinion. He might have a game where he's over 100 yards, but he won't do that consistently. I think their run defense is impressive, especially the way they get after the quarterback. It's very impressive. They just kind of go away in the fourth quarter, so we'll see. I do have the Packers winning this game. I got the Packers 27, Titans 20. I just expect the Packers to be able to game manage a lot better than the Titans, and I do expect the Packers to win this game. And our next game is the Chicago Bears at the Indianapolis Colts. So for the Bears, I think Caleb, he needs to utilize his checkdowns. There's so often where I'm watching him, and instead of taking his checkdowns, he's taking a sack, or he is scrambling, looking for something, and then takes a sack, or has a nasty turnover like he did last week. So he needs to utilize his checkdowns. He needs to stop playing hero ball and play winning football, in my opinion. I think they have no run game at all, so it makes it very hard for Caleb to have time in the pocket because they're sending 4, they're sending 5, and they're just destroying him. And you can tell his confidence is a little shaky after last week, so I know nobody likes to lose, but yeah, it's tough with no run game. I think their defense definitely keeps them in games, and I expect that to continue throughout the entire year. So yeah, I think the Bears defense will be probably top 7, top 10, something like that this year. As for the Colts, no more interceptions. Anthony Richardson, he kind of just tosses the ball recklessly and needlessly at times, but I think that's what this team needs. They kind of live and die off of his hype moments. So yeah, we'll see. I still think they're passing the ball too much for too little of a result. So yeah, I think the Colts they have a lot that they can work on offensively. I think Jonathan Taylor should be leaned on. He is their bell cow back. He is the guy that they've been paying for his entire career, and I think he needs to continue to be leaned on because I think Jonathan Taylor is still serviceable in this league for sure. I do have the Bears winning this game. I got the Bears 20, Colts 17. This one definitely could go either way, but I expect the Bears to figure something out here. Our next game is the Houston Texans at the Minnesota Vikings. So for the Texans, no run game at all last week. I know Joe Mixon is injured, and I'm pretty sure he's out in this coming week. And I expect them to struggle a little bit, especially with no run game. But they are kicking way too many field goals. In these moments where they were kicking field goals this year, last year they were scoring touchdowns. So I think they need to just get back to more natural play calling that they're used to, so they can score more points, in my opinion. I think their defense needs to continue to ball hawk. Their defense is looking very, very feisty, and I really like the way this defense plays. As for the Vikings, I think Sam Darnold is playing very well. Is this sustainable? Can he continue this for, 15 more games and then playoffs after that? I'm not too sure, but he's playing very well right now, especially for a Vikings team that I think everybody predicted them to be at the bottom of their division. So he's playing very well. I think their defense is very impressive, and I really like what they're doing defensively. So like I said, Brian Flores, I think he was a great defensive mind to bring into this team. And I'm not sure how much time Justin Jefferson will miss. I couldn't get an update. I'm recording this Wednesday morning, so yeah, I haven't gotten an update on how much time he will be missing, but with his injury, so we'll see. I do have the Texans winning this game. I wouldn't be surprised if the Vikings kept this competitive, but as of right now, I find it hard to predict against the Texans. So I do have the Texans 27, Vikings 20. All right, and our next game is the Philadelphia Eagles at the New Orleans Saints. So for the Eagles, Jalen Hurts is a liability in the clutch. He's just putting the ball right where it doesn't need to be, and just putting too much on it, and it's very just not clutch. I think their defense is really bad right now. I know they lost Hassan Reddick, and I think they lost a couple of other pieces defensively. Their defense just doesn't look as good as last year, and I don't know what it is. I watch First Things First, and they've been talking about a supernatural funk over this team. You kind of see it every time you're watching them. They're not disciplined, and they need to figure it out. And I think they miss A.J. Brown a lot. That Saquon Barkley drop kind of reminded me of that. I'm sure Saquon still would have been in that situation making that play, but I think they miss A.J. Brown a lot. He definitely takes the top off the defense, so it's very apparent that they miss him. As for the Saints, that's 2 straight 40-point games to start the year. I think they were very close to passing the record for most points scored in the first 2 weeks of an NFL team ever. So that was super cool for them. Yeah, they're just playing very well. I think their defense is playing well too. They're ball hawking. They believe in themselves, and that's something you don't get with a lot of teams. I think they need to continue to lean on Alvin Kamara. As long as he can stay healthy, I think his team will win their division for sure. I do have the Saints winning this game. I got the Saints 40, Eagles 20. It seems like a blowout, and from what the Eagles defense is putting on film right now, I got the Saints in this game big. Our next game is the LA Chargers at the Pittsburgh Steelers. So for the Chargers, will Justin Herbert miss time? I did see his injury, and like I said, as of Wednesday morning, I have not gotten an update on that. I'm not sure how much time he's going to miss, or if he'll miss any time at all, but yeah, he did get pretty pretzel tackled last week. I think Dobbins is the key to their success. Jim Harbaugh runs the ball, and he loves to run the ball. If it was up to him, I'm sure he would only run the ball. And I think Dobbins is very good for them, so he needs to continue to thrive. I think Quentin Johnston, he finally showed up. I think I don't remember if he was a first-round pick or a second-round pick, but he's definitely their number 1 wide receiver now. So he finally showed up, and I hope he continues to. As for the Steelers, I think Justin Fields, he's playing a little bit scared. He's trying not to make mistakes because he's afraid to lose his starting job right now, and it's very apparent. So I think he needs to get back to what was making him successful when he was in Chicago. So we'll see. Excuse me. Najee Harris is efficient but not effective. I think he can get you those 1 to 2 yards pretty consistently, but he's just not burning anybody. And I'm just not sure if Najee's the Thunder. I think they need the Thunder to complement his Lightning. So we'll see. We'll see if they can get anybody like that, in my opinion. And I think they live and die on defense with TJ Watt. I think if you can score 20 against this team, I think you can beat this team. I think they will struggle to score 20 points week in and week out. So, yeah, as of right now, I do have the Steelers winning this game. I'm a little skeptical on that one. I like that. I'm like surprised by my own prediction. So I made this prediction list yesterday. So it's, I guess I was feeling the Steelers. So I do have the Steelers winning this game. Steelers 20, Chargers 15. Especially with Justin Herbert's status being up in the air. Yeah, I do have the Steelers in this game. What am I saying? Our next game is the Denver Broncos at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So for the Broncos, Bo Nix needs to take care of the football. I know he's expected to be this team's savior, and it's very apparent in the way he's playing. So I think they need to, dial it back. Run the damn ball. They had no run game last week, and running the football would help your rookie quarterback quite tremendously. Sean Payton, I'm not sure what his offensive play calling is, but it's not great right now. Just not great. I think their defense plays well, but is on the field way too much. They look exhausted on defense. I think it's because the time of possession is so lopsided. It's just kind of really unfortunate for this defense because they just look exhausted. As for the Buccaneers, they have no run game at all, but they kind of aren't needing it yet. But I think they need to get back to the run game for sure. I think Baker and the Chris Godwin connection is elite right now. I think if I saw the stat correctly, he had been targeted 15 times in the first 2 weeks, and he had caught all 15 catchable balls. So tremendous connection between these two, and I like Baker a lot. So I hope he continues to thrive in Tampa. I think their defensive line is elite. Vita Vea is a standout to me. He is very good for this team, and I think their run defense is very good. Their secondary could improve a little bit, but yeah, I like their defensive line a lot. I do have the Buccaneers winning this game. I got the Buccaneers 21, Broncos 17. I just don't expect the Broncos to score very many points. So I do have the Buccaneers in this game. Heading over to our late window of games, we have the Carolina Panthers at the Las Vegas Raiders. So for the Panthers, I think they have a new fire now, especially with Andy Dalton. They might think that they have something. So I think this is a trap game for the Raiders. So they need to be very, very careful. I think this team needs to lean on the run game. Andy Dalton is not who he used to be. I don't think he can sling it over. He's not the red rifle anymore. It's just, pardon me. I just don't think he's going to be the solution that they think he is. I think they'll think he's better than Bryce, but Panther organization, I think they screwed Bryce. They definitely didn't do him any favors. So we'll see. The Raiders, they finally got Minshew magic last week. They figured it out, and I was very impressed with Gardner Minshew. He didn't throw the game away last week, so very impressive. They also have no run game at all, so they need to get back to it. I can't remember who their running back is, their starting running back, but yeah, get back to it, run the ball, and that's kind of the quote of the week. Everybody needs to just run the damn ball. Their defensive line needs to play like last week every week. Max Crosby looked like he hasn't missed a beat. Like he was back to his old self compared to what he was week 1. So yeah, I think their defense needs to continue to play like they did last week. I do have the Raiders winning this game. I got the Raiders 27, Panthers 13. Like I said, this is a trap game. So I wouldn't, if you're a betting person, I wouldn't bet on this game at all. I'm not sure what the Panthers will look like going into this game. Our next game is the Miami Dolphins at my Seattle Seahawks. So for the Dolphins, very doubtful Tua plays this week. Yeah, they already actually confirmed it. Tua will not be playing in this game. I believe it's Skylar Thompson will be their starting quarterback going in. So we'll see what he can do. I think they need to get back to leaning on Devon Achane. I think Achane is the reason this team is successful. If they can lean on him, get that run game going, I think this team will be very competitive in all the games they play. They need to get Tyreek Hill the ball. He had a very lackluster week last week, and he is one of your most dynamic playmakers. You need to get him the ball. As for the Seahawks, great Geno game last week. He has a tendency to kind of crumble sometimes, but he did not last week. He thrived last week. I really liked the game that I saw from Geno. I hope he plays like that every week, especially against the 49ers and the Rams, and the Cardinals, I guess. But because he tends to struggle against our division. But yeah, it was a great Geno game. I think their run game needs to be a factor. I know Kenneth Walker was injured, but Zach Charbonnet he's supposed to be really good, and I think he had like 25 yards last week, so not great in our run game. So needs to be prioritized, and we need to figure out the offensive side of the run game for sure. And no more penalties. There were so many drives that got extended for the I forget who we played last week, the Patriots, just because we were making so many boneheaded penalties, and we just need to clean it up. I do have the Seahawks winning this game, strictly because I just don't expect Skylar Thompson to be able to figure it out, but we'll see. I do have the Seahawks winning. Seahawks 27, Dolphins 24. Let's go Seahawks. Our next game is the Baltimore Ravens at the Dallas Cowboys. So for the Ravens, they need to get Derrick Henry 20 to 25 carries every single week. That he's the bell cow back, and he needs a lot of carries. If you can get him more than 25, it might be a little excessive, but he needs the ball a lot for this in order for him to be successful. No more turnovers. They fumbled the ball a lot, this team, and I don't know what's going on. And Justin Tucker, he needs to figure it out. You're the best kicker in NFL history, arguably. You need to figure it out. I think he's going through the yips or something's going on, but this team, they have an aura about them right now that is just not good, and I don't like what this team's doing right now. As for the Cowboys, awful defensive performance last week, especially with how much praise their secondary and their defensive line gets. Awful game last week. Regain, figure it out. Dak needs to take care of the football. Yeah, it's kind of tough to say that. I know he was slinging it last week, just because they were down and they were trying to get back into it, but he needs to take care of the football for sure. They have no run game at all. Zeke Elliott, I'm not sure what they were expecting, but they could probably run against bad teams, but not against great teams. So yeah, I'm not sure how the run game is going to be good. I do have the Ravens winning this game. I got the Ravens 24, Cowboys 20. This one could definitely go either way, and I will definitely be watching this game. So I have the Ravens in this game. Our next late window game is the San Francisco 49ers at the LA Rams, the battle of the most injured freaking teams of the year so far, which who could have predicted that? Who could have predicted that? Anyway, so for the 49ers, too many empty possessions. If you look at their yardage, they have so many yards, but they have very little in terms of points. They need to make sure that they're kicking field goals and making sure that they are prioritizing all of their possessions. I think they have way too many turnovers, not just with Brock necessarily, but just in general. I think they need to make sure they're taking care of the football, and I think they will be just fine. I think Brock Purdy was great, but his stats make him look better than he was. I think he needs to just make sure that he is playing his game manager role, and I think this team will be decent. As for the Rams, they have no run game at all. Yeah, I forgot his name. I think his last name is Williams. Their running back. He's just not it. He is not it. They've had success with other running backs in LA, but this guy's just, in my opinion, he's not it. Their defense misses Aaron Donald. Their defensive line just does not look good, and I think their secondary is bad too. This team just defensively, they don't have an identity, and they don't know what they do well. So as soon as they get down, they at no point in that game last week against Arizona did I think the Rams were going to come back. So yeah, it's tough. I do have the Niners winning this game. I got the Niners 31, Rams 20, just because the Rams don't have a defense right now, and I think the Niners will figure it out. So yeah, I got the Niners in this game. Our next late window game is the Detroit Lions at the Arizona Cardinals. I think this game's going to be pretty good. So I got for the Lions. I think we're asking too much of Goff. People are criticizing Goff and saying that he's, not elite, not the quarterback of the future, something like that. I think Goff, he has his limitations, but as long as you know what those limitations are and you don't put him in those situations, I think this team can be very good. I think they have way too many turnovers and they have way too many empty possessions as well. This team is too talented to struggle this hard offensively. They have a two-headed backfield. use it. Jahmyr Gibbs is great. Montgomery, he is great. Continue to use both of them. Get Amon-Ra the ball as long as he's healthy. I think his team should be decent on paper. Actually, excuse me. I said decent. This team should be great on paper. As for the Cardinals, that might be the best game I've ever seen Kyler Murray play. And I was very impressed. I'm very happy for him. I think James Conner is cooking. I think this team offensively is starting to find their stride. But I know it's only week 2, so we'll see if they can sustain it throughout the entire season. I think their defense played very well last week. They need to continue to play that hungry, that ball hockey as they did last week, every single week. But we will see. I do have the Lions winning this game. I got the Lions 24 and the Cardinals Lions 27, Cardinals 24. I don't know. This one could go either way, especially with the way the Cardinals have been playing. I think this one could go either way. Heading over to Sunday Night Football, we have the Kansas City Chiefs at the Atlanta Falcons. So for the Chiefs, I think that was possibly Mahomes' worst game ever last week. I don't think he can do worse, so I expect this team to kind of pick the Falcons apart. I think they have way too many turnovers. I know one of those picks was just an insane play by the Cincinnati Bengals, but too many turnovers from Mahomes, too many fumbles. This team needs to figure out what they want to be offensively, in my opinion. And no Isaiah Pacheco for several weeks yet. I do believe they confirmed he is on IR, so he is out for a while. So I'm not sure what their run game is going to look like. I think they're going to have Patrick pass it even more now, so we'll see. As for the Falcons, they escaped last week with a win, and that was a very impressive win against the Eagles, so I'm not sure what else to make of that one. I think Bijan, he just needs to show up like he did last week every single week, and I know it's tough, but that was the first time that he resembled who he was in college, so I think he needs to figure it out, and he needs to play better. I think their defense played a lot better last week as well. I'm just not sure how sustainable that is, especially I think it was just against an Eagles team that was just not great. So we'll see what they can do against the Chiefs. I do have the Chiefs winning this game. I got the Chiefs 28, Falcons 20. I wouldn't be surprised if this was kind of a blowout from the Chiefs, but as of right now, I got an 8-point game. And our Monday Night Football game is the Washington Commanders at the Cincinnati Bengals. So for the Commanders, Brian Robinson thriving. Last week was a tremendous game for him, so they need to continue to lean on him, and they just need to not ask Jaden Daniels to do too much. He's playing very well, and I really like him compared to most of the rookie quarterbacks out of this class. He's playing very well, and I think I hope he continues to do so. Their defense played a lot better last week. I know they have a lot of savvy veterans on their roster, so I was very excited to see this team have some success, even though they weren't scoring a ton of points last week. As for the Bengals, too many boneheaded mistakes from Jamar Chase and his outburst, which I get being passionate and frustrated, but you cannot do that on the field, and you cannot keep going back. You cannot keep going back to the ref. That's just boneheaded, and I get it. He has off the field issues. You need to be a professional, and I know how hard it is, and I can't even imagine how pissed off he must be. So he needs to figure it out. Too many penalties, too many unnecessary penalties too. And to everybody who says that wasn't a penalty to get the Chiefs into field goal range, it was a penalty. It was 1,000% a penalty, and you deserved to get that penalty called. So just don't put yourself in situations where the refs have to call those penalties. It's not that damn difficult. Anyway, sorry, I'm getting off track here. They have no run game at all. They miss Joe Mixon a lot on this team, and I think Joe Burrow, he's going to have to carry this team again. And I think it's super tough just because I know Joe Burrow would rather play in Ohio compared to anywhere else because he's an Ohio kid. But, man, I just wish he was on a team that was competent and they wanted to win. It's just so frustrating. I do have the Bengals winning this game. I got the Bengals 27, Commanders 24. I expect the Bengals to get back on track and win this game. But, yeah, that is my Week 3 NFL predictions. What did you guys think? Did you enjoy it? Did you agree with my picks? Did you disagree with my picks? Let me know in the comment section down below. And I will catch you guys next week with my Week 4 predictions.